I think we have the opportunity here to kind of completely reimagine what it means to use a computer. I was running OpenAI. Jony's running a design firm called Lovefrom that had established itself as really the densest collection of talent that I've ever heard of in one place and probably has ever existed in the world. And it became very quickly apparent to both of us that we needed a third company.
They have built a team of remarkable subject matter experts that range from hardware and software engineering, physicists, researchers, product manufacturing experts.
You know, Jony called one day and said, "This is the best work our team has ever done." I mean, Jony did the iPhone. Jony did the MacBook Pro. And I think it is the coolest piece of technology that the world will have ever seen. We have like magic intelligence in the cloud, but I think this technology deserves something much better.
2 weeks ago, OpenAI announced their first ever device in collaboration with the legendary designer behind the iPhone, Jony Ive. So the video they released did not come with the best feedback. Essentially, it was super artsy, it was very vague, and it barely shows anything. But now that the dust has settled, I'm gonna break down a few major signals about what the product is, what the strategy is here, and ultimately where OpenAI is headed next. I'm Boardroom Wire, let's get into it.
I think we have the opportunity here to kind of completely reimagine what it means to use a computer.
Sam is a rare visionary. He shoulders incredible responsibility, but his curiosity, his humility remain utterly inspiring.
Jony is the deepest thinker of anyone I've ever met. What that leads him to be able to come up with is unmatched.
All right, so right off the bat here, you can see the artsy video style that people weren't thrilled with. I'm not going to comment too much on that. There's two things they did here that I think are really telling. One is Sam Altman talks about the ability to reimagine how you use a computer, right? So that's his first allusion to this new device. And they also play up both Sam as a figure as well as Jony Ive. So again, we'll get into this more, but Jony Ive is the guy behind the iPhone. So they're trying to create this kind of Steve Jobs iPhone moment here with this new device that they're launching. So let's keep going and listen to what they have to say.
So what is this announcement we're talking about?
2 years ago, Jony and I started talking about what the future of AI and new kinds of computers was going to look like. I was running OpenAI. Jony's running a design firm called Lovefrom that had established itself as really the, I think, densest collection of talent that I've ever heard of in one place and probably has ever existed in the world. And it became very quickly apparent to both of us that we needed a third company.
All right, so Lovefrom, for everyone's edification, is basically Jony Ive's design consulting firm. So it's this collective of designers that he worked with at Apple. He's going to speak more about them in a minute, but they're the team really that's the brains behind everything. Now, Lovefrom is not to be confused with I.O., which is the new device company that OpenAI is acquiring, and that's really the topic of this whole announcement. So we're going to let him get into that now.
A year ago, I founded I.O. with Scott Cannon, Evans Hankey, and Tang Tan, who are the most extraordinary engineers. They have built a team of remarkable subject matter experts that range from hardware and software engineering, physicists, researchers, product manufacturing experts. And so I.O. is merging with OpenAI.
Formed with the mission of figuring out how to create a family of devices that would let people use AI to create all sorts of wonderful things.
All right, so these guys that he's talking about, Evans Hankey, Tang Tan, Scott Cannon, the other kind of people behind Love From, these are all the people who did the Apple products. So to, again, give some background, Jony Ive is the guy behind the iPhone, but he also worked with these other designers to do the iPad, the Apple Watch. So it's really important, again, for Sam, because basically this whole acquisition is just to onboard this team and to signal to the market that, hey, we're serious about hardware, we're serious about these devices, and we're bringing in the best people to do the job. So again, this company IO doesn't even have a product yet. It's just the team that everybody knows can ultimately deliver on it.
The first one we've been working on, I think, has just completely captured our imagination.
You know, Jony called one day and said, this is the best work our team has ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, Jony did the iPhone. Jony did the MacBook Pro. I mean, these are like the defining ways people use technology. It's hard to beat those things. Those are really wonderful.
So this line is really important because he talks about the MacBook Pro or the laptop. He talks about the iPhone. And one of the things that they're signaling here, and Sam Altman has been really open about, is this is not a new iPhone. So this is not a sort of redo of an existing product. They're creating a totally new type of product and trying to create a new category, or the third great device.
Jony recently gave me one of the prototypes of the device for the first time to take home, and I've been able to live with it. And I think it is the coolest piece of technology that the world will have ever seen.
The products that we're using to deliver and connect us to unimaginable technology, they're decades old.
Yeah.
And so it's just common sense to at least think, surely there's something beyond these legacy products.
So there's 2 points here I think are interesting. One, this company IO doesn't have any revenue, but they do at least have prototypes that Sam Altman himself said he's used. And obviously they're talking their book, but he's pretty impressed. The second thing that Jony alludes to is this notion of legacy technology and how that's not the right format for AI. So Sam's going to jump into that next. Let's listen.
We have like magic intelligence in the cloud. If I wanted to ask ChatGPT something right now about something we had talked about earlier, think about what would happen. I would like reach down, I would get out my laptop, I'd open it up, I'd launch a web browser, I'd start typing, and I'd have to like explain that thing, and I would hit enter, and I would wait, and I would get a response. And that is at the limit of what the current tool of a laptop can do. But I think this technology deserves something much better.
So that section there, I think, tells us a ton about what they're trying to do with this product and what they're envisioning. So obviously, Sam describes the friction of using our existing legacy devices today. And he talks about doing something that's more frictionless, right? So that tells us at least a few things about this product. One, it's got to be envisioning leveraging voice, right? That's the only other form factor I can think of where you're going to speak to it beyond some, Neuralink science fiction kind of approach, which obviously they're not doing. And two, they want this device to have context on what you're doing, right? So it's got to have some type of microphone. It's got to have some type of camera to understand your surroundings. And it's also able to query your previous chats and have history and context on you. So allegedly, we've had leaks of what this device is going to look like. So I'm going to throw that up on the screen here. But we've also heard from OpenAI directly that it's not envisioned to have a display, and it's also not a wearable. So again, think of this as some type of context collecting device that maybe integrates with your iPhone or integrates with other tools and is a totally new form factor.
You talk to people who use our latest model and say this is like genius level in every field, and you just have to put in the work to like pull it all together. But if you have a hard problem, you can have this like team of geniuses in all of their different disciplines, and they report, I'm 2 or 3 times more productive as a scientist than I was before. I'm 2 or 3 times faster to find a cure for cancer than I was before, because I have this incredible external brain. That just didn't exist 6 months ago. I think this will be one of these moments of just an absolute embarrassment of riches of what people go create for collective society.
So this may seem like a throwaway comment, but I think that this is actually an indication of how broad they think the opportunity is for an AI dedicated device. So Sam talks about the impact AI is having in the medical field and cancer research, but I think that the real point here is that the same way we use computers at work, in our jobs, in our personal lives, this new device that OpenAI is talking about could be analogous to what the computer was for work. So again, I think he's really highlighting how big they think the opportunity is here. And like he mentions, the embarrassment of riches that this new period could create for everybody.
I am absolutely certain that we are literally on the brink of a new generation of technology that can make us our better selves.
So there you have it. By bringing in Jony Ive, Sam Altman and OpenAI really signaled that they're serious about building hardware. This isn't just a side project. This is something that they want to be core. And again, I think that they're really trying to recapture sort of the energy that we used to have around the iPhone, the iPad, the iPod, and all these really transformative technologies that Apple had become synonymous with. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, they're serious about it. They brought in the best team. They put their money where their mouth is, or at least their equity, because I believe this $6.5 billion is an actually all equity deal. But I don't think that a device is a slam dunk. Hardware is expensive. We've seen with other products like the wearables that it's not easy to get people to adopt a new form factor like this. And in terms of the existing devices, there's rigorous competition. You obviously have the omnipresence of Apple within the devices and hardware space, but you also have really competent competitors like Google with the Pixel, as well as their integrated models and really their fully integrated AI stack down to the chips. So we'll have to follow along and see how OpenAI does with this. They're aiming to launch 100 million units by the end of 2026 or something to that effect. So we'll know here in the next 12 or 18 months how things are going. But with that, if you found this breakdown helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. This is Boardroom Wire, where we do strategic breakdowns at the intersection of business and technology at least twice a week. So I appreciate your view, and again, see you on the next one.